One of my walking and chatting lectures. And before we get started this morning, I just want to thank all of my supporters and all of my subscribers for supporting my channel. My YouTube channel will not be where it's at today without all of my supporters. So with that being said, let's get on down to today's very important lecture, which is the thought-provoking question: Do you know how to cultivate yourself outside of the job? That's a very important question. Do you know how to cultivate yourself outside of the job? Because I'm going to tell you a little secret. It is each individual person's responsibility to cultivate yourself outside of whatever your job is. That's not the job responsibility. It's not the supervisor or the manager responsibility. It's not your co-worker responsibility. It is your responsibility to cultivate and to develop and nurture yourself outside of your job. The only responsibility you have on your job is to perform the essential functions of your job, abide by policy and procedure, and take your behind home. It's becoming very popular now where you hear a lot of people getting on these various social media platforms talking about how, they're quitting jobs and jobs are toxic and jobs are horrible. But I'm going to tell you a little secret. It's not the job or the organization. It's the people within the organization. And you got to have the mindset to be able to navigate around people on any job or any organization, any company, because at the end of the day, if you are a full-grown adult, every full-grown adult is going to have responsibilities, bills, raising their kids. That ain't going away. So if you haul off and quit your job because you haven't developed the emotional maturity to navigate on these jobs and organizations and companies, then that's a great recipe for homelessness. And I'm here to tell you. And that's real talk, people. So one of the powerful tips and strategies I've used all of my adult working life, I've been in corporate America, I've been in the military, I retired from state government, so I got some skills to bring to the table. I fully retired September the 6th, 2023, and I had to use all of my navigation skills since a teenager to navigate on these jobs, to be able to sustain myself and to take care of myself, to raise my daughter, to get my daughter through college, even though she's in the military now and doing quite well. But it took money to do that. So as a mother, what would I have done by hauling off and walking off and quitting a job, knowing I had a child to raise? That only makes sense. But what I discovered is that you master the skill in terms of knowing how to cultivate and to develop and to nurture yourself outside of the job. It ain't the company responsibility to do that. And one of the most important things, number one, go home. Go home and rejuvenate when it's time to go home. Don't take that job home with you. You get into your prayer, your meditation, your spirituality. All that ties into cultivating yourself as a person in all areas of your life. Eat right. Get your exercise. You got to take care of your mind, your body, and spirit in order to cultivate and to develop and to nurture yourself so you can be able to get up and go to work and work that job. Rather, you got one part-time job or full-time job, it don't matter. You got to use these tips and strategies to continue to cultivate and develop and nurture yourself so you can take care of your family, so you can pay your bills, so you won't become homeless and get evicted, lose your home, your car, because you don't have the maturity to navigate on these jobs. This is real talk, people. Because companies and jobs and organizations, like I said, your only responsibility is to perform the essential functions of your job and having the skills to deal with certain personalities on any job. And that's a skill set. That is a skill set. And I'm here to tell you. Because when you go to work, it's a business transaction. Understand and wrap your mind around that business model. Another key ingredient of cultivating and nurturing yourself outside of the job, if you are reading books, reading motivational books to develop and cultivate your mind, and do that on an ongoing basis. Hobbies, getting outside, enjoying life. That's another way to cultivate and nurture yourself. But that most important thing, that physical piece, keeping up with all of your doctor's appointments, eating right, paying attention to your lab work, all of that ties into cultivating and developing and nurturing yourself outside of the job. It is not the job responsibility to take care of you. It is not the job responsibility to give you therapy. No, it is the job responsibility to give you remuneration, to get you your weekly check or your monthly check, your fringe benefits, your PTO, and that's what that job is. They're giving you all of that. So when you earn that PTO, take it. That's what that job is. A transaction, people. And many people got this thing twisted. Another powerful tip in terms of cultivating and developing and nurturing yourself outside of that job, if you have a desire to write a book, if you have a desire to write a book, to get a book published, block out time and do that outside of the job. My book title, Awake Financial Freedom, hit all major bookstores going on 3 years. And I will never forget this. I got me a little easy weekend side hustle job on the weekend to self-fund my dream. There you go. If you want to cultivate and develop yourself, rather it's write a book, you may have to get a side hustle so you can self-fund, so you can finance your dreams. In the beauty of that little side job I had on the weekend, it was a quiet, easy job. All I had to do was check doors every hour, and I'm gonna tell you something, I wrote my book on that part-time job. It was peaceful, it was quiet. All I had to do was get up and check doors, and I wrote my manuscript to my book on that side job. I used that job also to cultivate and develop myself. My book got published. My book was accepted by 2 world-renowned publishing companies, and also the money I made off that side job, I paid my publishing company in cash. Owe nobody nothing. So it was a benefit all the way around. I made good side money. Nobody bothered me. I utilized that time on the weekend to write my book. Also was able to get my exercise on that part-time job. I would get up and walk around, get my exercise, bring my healthy food to eat, and I wrote my book and got paid literally to cultivate myself. And I'm telling you, that's the mindset you got to have. And there are other co-workers in that building, because there's areas of the building had to be monitored, and I literally seen some of those other co-workers on that weekend quiet job got in trouble because they got tired of being bored. Really? Bring you something to do to cultivate yourself. Read some self-help books. Develop yourself. Start a YouTube channel. I'm trying to figure out how you get fired from a job and ain't nobody around to bother you. Really? But then I had to step back a little bit, and maybe their mindset wasn't where my mindset was, and how I view it as a golden opportunity of making good side money. I can bring my positive books in to read. I can write my manuscript. I can get my exercise done, and I can eat healthy on this side job and make the money to pay my publishing company. Oh, nobody nothing. I'm getting return on investments every quarter with my quarterly checks for my book, Awake Financial Freedom. And I'm telling you, you got to have the skills to do this versus thinking the job owes you something, like being a counselor or therapy, and the responsibility to develop and cultivate. That's your responsibility. And folks getting up and quitting these jobs, and my thought is, how are you going to pay your bills? How are you going to take care of your kids? How are you going to pay that car note, mortgage, rent, school loans, credit, whatever? How are you going to do all this if you just quitting without an exit plan? Instead of doing all that, shift your mindset and have the mindset that this is a business relationship between me and this employer. I'm here to perform the essential functions of my job, and I'm going to make it my business to develop and to cultivate and to nurture myself outside of that job. If you want to start a little business, then you're going to have to make money to start that business. I don't care what it is. So develop that. Get that business plan in place first. So you can have that business plan in place to start your own business while you're simultaneously still going to work, so you can self-fund that business to get it off the ground and pay your bills. And this is basic business 101 when you really wrap your mind around seeing yourself as a business partner on these jobs and having the mindset it is your responsibility to develop, to nurture, to cultivate yourself outside of that job. I have used these skills ever since I was a teenager. I understood the agenda. And I'm telling you, even though I'm fully retired, I still have to use these same skills when I'm interfacing with my clients on my company, Paris and Associates Resource Center. I still got to have those customer service skills, because one of the primary services I use or provide under my company, Paris and Associates Resource Center, which I have developed and nurtured and cultivated my company that's well over 20 plus years old, simultaneously while I was in the workforce, making money and cultivating myself outside of that job. There we go. Outside of that job, and I kept my mouth shut. Because what I did to develop in the culture, to develop and to nurture and develop myself outside of the job, when I came to work on my day job, I kept my mouth shut, because what I was doing outside of that job wasn't nobody's business. No co-workers, no supervisors, no managers. I kept folks out of my business. And that's another key ingredient into cultivating yourself outside of your job. Keep your mouth shut, move in silence, because everybody ain't happy with your stuff. If you're developing yourself, I don't care if it's eating right, exercising, losing weight, getting your faith strong, starting a business, writing a book, starting a YouTube channel. Don't go back on the job telling your stuff. Because I'm telling you, you don't know. It's 9 times out of 10, people in the group listening to you running your mouth. They may be smiling in your face, but in reality, they're hating on you. And then they're going to begin to play mind games on the job. And that's where the toxicity comes into play. It ain't the job that's toxic. It's the people within the organization. It's the people within the organization that creates toxicity within the organization. Rather, it's a co-worker, supervisor, manager, CEO. But when you're running your mouth, you're giving them the ammunition. You're giving them that information on you. You're telling yourself, which sets the stage for the mind games and the toxicity, because you can't keep your mouth shut. I'm here to tell you, this is real talk, people. This is real talk. And I have utilized these skills all my entire life. And it helped me to get promotions. It helped me to get them raises. It helped me to increase my salary, to use some of that money to finance my dreams. And the rest is history. And I'm telling you, even if folks say, oh, I'm going to go work for myself, but you're going to have to still interface with people. You're going to have customers in order to make that money. So you got to have those communication skills. You got to interface with people, or you ain't going to make no money. And this is real talk. This is real talk, people. So you have to ask yourself, do you have the skills? Do you cultivate and develop and nurture yourself outside of that job? Because it is your responsibility to do this. When I retired September the 6th, 2023, my last working hour, people who had been working with me for 12, 14, 15 years prior to me retiring, number one, they had no idea I had my own business simultaneously while I was working state government. Number two, they had no clue that I had my book published, hit all major bookstores long before I retired. Number three, they didn't even know I was a content creator. I self-disclosed all of that as I was exiting out of the door, and it blew their mind. And I deliberately did that because some of those same people, when I revealed who I really was, Many of them subscribed to my channel. Many of them bought my book. Many of them wanted to hire me to develop their strategic business plan under my company, Paris and Associates Resource Center. But I deliberately kept my mouth shut as I was working for the state of North Carolina, because you never know who's going to be smiling in your face, and then they're really wishing you would fail, or they're going to begin to play mind games on the job and create toxicity. So I deliberately kept my mouth shut until I exit up out of the workforce forever, September the 6th, 2023. And I have been in the workforce for well over 40 plus years, people. I've been working ever since I was 15 years old, and I have used these skills, and I continue to use these skills because I still got my company. I'm a content creator. I'm a monetized channel, so I still have to use my skills. I have to still use my skills to continue to cultivate myself outside of that professional arena as a 1099 content creator, as a business owner, to continue to cultivate myself and use these same skills. And that is the secret, people, right there. You know, that is when I listen and talk to a lot of people, and I'm listening to these people, and they're saying, oh, the job don't care about you, and these jobs are toxic. No, it's the people on the job. You got to have the skills, number one, to navigate through life in these jobs so you can sustain yourself and cultivate yourself. Even if you want to start your business, you got to still have the skills to self-fund that business until you get it off the ground. Because I spent a lot of money cultivating and getting my company, Paris and Associates Resource Center, off the ground. I spent a lot of money getting my book published by 2 world-renowned publishing companies. So I had to use these skills on my full-time job, my side hustle job, to make money to finance my dreams. And I'm here to tell you. So share this information. Somebody might need to hear it. Do you have the skills, or do you cultivate yourself outside of that job? I don't care if you got 1 job or 2 jobs, a side hustle, full-time, part-time. You got to use these skills to develop and cultivate yourself for the rest of your life if you want to get to where you're trying to get and create financial freedom. Because I'm at the point now where all of my royalty checks that I get from 2 world-renowned publishing companies, passive income, people. I'm getting the return on my investments, but I don't want to negate the fight. I had to work a side job to pay both publishing companies thousands and thousands and thousands and thousands of dollars to get my book published by 2 world-renowned publishing companies. And I was determined not to go in debt, and I did not. I paid both publishing companies in cash from all of that money I made on that side job, checking doors every hour, wrote the manuscript on the job. So I'm getting paid. I'm getting paid to work on a weekend to do the job duties, to write my manuscript, make money, pay those publishing companies, get my exercise. I'm the only one in the building. Ain't nobody bother me. I brought motivational books to read, and I'm thinking, my God, this is what I'm talking. This here is I'm sitting on a gold mine, getting 3 and 4 things done simultaneously, exercising, cultivating myself, making the money, working, getting money to pay for the publishing companies without going in debt. Right there, because I know a lot of people go in deep debt to get a book published. I wasn't going down that path, and the rest is history. I would get those quarterly checks for the rest of my life, people, and I turn around and I reinvest my quarterly checks from both publishing companies I would get for the rest of my life. When God get ready to call me home, all of that money will go to my daughter. That's how you build that generational wealth, people. This is real talk. That's how you build that generational wealth. This is real talk, but it's got to begin with mastering skills and cultivating and developing yourself outside of these jobs versus getting mad and hauling off and quitting. Just remember, it's not the job, it's the people within the job. Think about what that organization is giving you. You're getting your salary. If it's a full-time, if it's a decent company, you're getting your salary, you're getting your retirement, you're getting your medical, you're getting your dental, you're getting your PTO. In some organizations, you're getting bonuses, and you're getting your raises, and you're getting your promotions. So what you look like walking away from that? That only makes sense. Look at it as a business, because it's business. I retired from the state of North Carolina, and they got one of the best pensions in the world. I would get a retirement check for the rest of my life to include benefits. But if you get fired, you lose all that. So that to me, that don't even make sense. And I had that on the forefront of my mind. No, this is about business. This corporation, this state government job finna set me up for life. And that retirement pension is so powerful, and this thing is real. If I was to die right now today, my daughter, and I ain't never seen nothing like this before, my daughter, who's 31 years old in the United States Navy, been in going on 10 years, doing quite well. If I was to die right now, the state of North Carolina would send my daughter my retirement check for the rest of her life. The money would never run out. She will literally get my pension for the remainder of her life. Even if she lived to be 100 years old, she would get my retirement check for the rest of her life. I would get my retirement check for the remainder of my life every single month, and then money would never run out, to include medical, dental, everything. So what I look like jeopardizing that? That's power. That's a good example of passing down that generational wealth. So if I would have been stupid enough to get mad and quit that state job, then I would have been blocking generational wealth being passed down to my daughter, where they would send that money to her every single month for the rest of her life, and the money would never run out. She would get that money for the rest of her life. And then in the event of her death, it'll go to the next person, and the next person, and the next person in my bloodline, people. The money will never run out. I ain't never in my life seen a retirement plan that passes down generational wealth. The military benefits ain't even that good. That's power, people. That's power. That's what you call passing it down, all because I had the skills to develop and to nurture and to cultivate myself outside of that state government job. Because there were many divisions I worked for that was highly toxic, and I had to master those skills. It can be done, and I did it all the way up until I retired, and still use these skills as a content creator, still use these skills as a business owner, as an entrepreneur under my company, Paris and Associates Resource Center. Because even if you own your own company, you still got to have customer service. You still got to have the skills to interface with people if you want to make the money. This is real talk. So working for yourself is not an all-in-all solution, because if you ain't got no clients, if you ain't got no customers, you ain't making no money. And this is real talk. If you ain't being responsible and accountable and being on time with where you have to be as a business owner, you ain't making no money. This is real talk. I don't care what your craft is. You got to still be somewhere on time to deliver. I don't care if you're working online, if you're working on IT, you're going to have projects that with a deadline that you got to deliver. So you still got to be accountable and have responsibilities in customer service and working with people to make that money. That's like if I got people right now under my company, I got a maximum of 5 clients. At certain times we meet telephonic so we can work on their strategic business plan. That time is scheduled and blocked out. So what I look like not showing up for a scheduled appointment for folks who have already paid me to develop their initial strategic business plan over the course of 4 paid sessions. I would be making no money under my company. This is real talk. So you still got to use those skills, and you still got to understand the power of developing and cultivating yourself outside of any job or business in order to survive in this world. Wake up, people. Wake up, because this thing is real. So again, share this information. Somebody might need to hear this topic, and don't forget, tune in September the 29th. I'm gonna do another relational live stream lecture I'm going to present the winning format that I used to write my manuscript to get my book published by two world-renowned publishing companies. Yeah, there is a format that I use. I didn't pay nobody to do it. I didn't go online to find out the winning format to write a manuscript. No, I sat my behind down for a year and a half on that part-time job, writing my manuscript. That's what I did. Writing my manuscript in pencil, paper and pencil, blood, sweat, and tears. I'm utilizing every bit of that quiet time in that building. And I spent a year and a half writing my winning manuscript. So if you want to find out the format I use, you need to tune in September the 29th at 9 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. I'm going to be ready to get down to business. That's all I have. Simplify, simple fidelis, and I'm leaving you in the care of your own conscience. Have a great day.